All right, we're off.
Great. Well, hello everyone. My name is Natalie, and in today's webinar, we're going to talk about how you can drum your way to health. But before we get started, we're going to take 60 seconds to just center ourselves and take a couple deep breaths. So, finding a quiet space within yourself and take just a few nice deep breaths for me. And breathing all the way into your belly and expanding your lungs as big as possible. Releasing any tension that you might be feeling right now. And I want you to experience really quickly the first drum you ever heard. And if you have the ability, place your hand over your heart and just see if you can feel your inner drum, your heartbeat. And remember, this is the very first rhythm that you ever heard. And take another nice deep breath. And resting in that rhythm. And we are ready to begin. So my name is Natalie Calzadilla, and by day I'm an instructional designer at FIU Online, and by night I'm a Health Rhythms trained facilitator, artist, and life coach. What we're going to talk about today are the benefits and research behind health rhythms. We did a podcast a couple weeks ago that covered more of the actual experience of what it feels like to go through a health rhythm circle. And I invite you to go check out that podcast episode to listen to that portion of it. But today we're going to focus more on the actual benefits and hopefully leave you inspired and ready to do some drumming into your life. So we're going to talk about the M word, and the M word is meditation. So if you can please write in the chat box, how many of you struggle with meditation? How hard is it to quiet your mind for a long period of time? Let me know how that feels for you. The good news, hold on. I'm getting some audio. Okay, can I? Okay, they are able to hear me, so maybe that's one isolated issue. Great, so Elisa says, I try to do it daily. Some days are harder than others. Absolutely. Jennifer says, yes, it's hard, but mostly hard for me to have a daily practice. I'm better at meditating when things get tough, but I have a hard time doing it daily. I agree with you 100%. It's definitely something that comes as an ebb and flow, and it's hard to do when we're feeling good, actually, because we kind of feel like we don't need it. And so the good news is that drumming is actually an active form of meditation, and we can't think and drum at the same time because it requires you to act faster than you can think. So it's a great tool to incorporate into your daily practice, and it's not something that we see common. Yes, running is a form of meditation, absolutely. I'm reading other ones, finding difficult to quiet the mind and find a time and space where you're not interrupted. I prefer yoga. So there's so many ways to meditate, thankfully. And drumming is one of these that is not common, and we can actually adopt very easily by acquiring one at a very affordable price and bringing it into your daily practice. And we're going to explain a little bit more about why the benefits of drumming are so powerful. So more specifically, health rhythms. So health rhythms is actually an evidence-based group empowerment drumming program that's being utilized as a cost-effective strategy for many different reasons and places. So stress management, improving morale, team building, support groups, employee wellness initiatives, patient groups, schools and universities, and senior citizen groups. Health Rhythms is actually taking the senior citizen group homes by storm right now, and they've seen such amazing results with it. It's great for cancer support groups and all sorts of different environments where you just really need to reduce stress and really promote camaraderie and connection and stress relief. Health Rhythms is a form of recreational music making. And essentially what recreational music making means is that it's more about the experience of making music than the outcome. It's not to have some end goal to be this ultimate percussionist, musician. It's all about connecting with each other, exercising, feeling nurtured, the social support, bonding and spirituality, intellectual stimulation, and really a heightened understanding of an enhanced capacity to cope with life challenges. It's just such a very primal tool for connection. And Carl here says from the music making and wellness movement that recreational music making ultimately affords unparalleled creative expression that unites our bodies, minds, and spirits. So Health Rhythms is just one of those examples of recreational music making. You can walk into any adult music class that can be singing or playing the piano. And again, you'll know whether the goal is to just have the experience more than becoming a master of that instrument. So the personal benefits of Health Rhythms are the same as recreational music making. The only difference is that there's science to prove that it actually strengthens your immune system. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that in the upcoming slides. But again, it's reinforcing that Health Rhythms has a very holistic approach to wellness because it includes the mind by reducing the stress, the interpersonal connection, the creativity, and that connection with ourselves, that spiritual connection. And it's just such a great exercise. I personally was drumming for 30 minutes to 45 minutes on Sunday at a special event, and I was exhausted and sore the next day. So it's definitely a real workout. I don't know how many steps though. I know you can get steps for those in the walking challenge. I actually have tested this because when I was doing, when I do different trainings or the actual health rhythm circles, I get more steps. So I don't know if that's cheating, but you can come to my circle and find out. So my personal experience with the drum and why it's been such a profound tool for me. I came to Health Rhythms specifically through a course called Awaken Your Rhythm course with music therapist Christine Stevens through the Shift Network. And I originally chose this course because I was grieving. I was processing 3 losses that I experienced earlier this year. And I really wanted a tool that can get me out of my head. And that is one of the, that power behind the drum is that you just have to be so present to do it. And it helped me with my grieving process in a deep way. And I also used it separate from that as a strategic tool to help me find my voice, because drumming is also, although this is not part of Health Rhythms, but usually in drumming, you can also incorporate singing. And I wanted not to necessarily become a singer, but to just be comfortable using my voice in public. So those were my profound moments and healing moments with using the drum. And through this Awaken Your Rhythm course, the music therapist, Christine Stevens, kept referencing Health Rhythms. And I was curious, and when I looked it up, I found what it was. I did all this research, watched all these videos on YouTube about testimonials, and I just really felt my heart opened up profoundly, and I was just deeply moved. And the next thing I know, I was booked and ready to get trained in Phoenix, Arizona. And this is actually a picture from the training. And I love this picture because you can see all of the walks of life. I'm on the drum set, and the gentleman on the bottom right, he's a therapist that works with adolescents in Washington. The woman on the black drum, she's another therapist out of Colorado. The woman on the upper left-hand corner is actually a retired medical doctor. And the gentleman on the left is part of the plant medicine community. And there was more people in this room at the time, but this was a very magical moment where entrainment happened. And I'm going to explain what that is in the upcoming slides as well. And so it just really encompasses how everybody comes from all walks of life to share this in a clinical therapeutic setting or in community building. And we all can just come together and really use this in so many ways to support one another. So life begins with a pulse. The movement of our blood traversing our arteries and veins to the rhythm of our heartbeat is our own natural rhythm. Everybody has a unique heartbeat, and it's based on the size and shape and orientation of your valves and your physiology. So each one of you actually has a different song, and I think that's such an amazing and beautiful thing. And one thing that is fascinating is that the tech world is actually looking into using our unique heartbeats as a password. Instead of using like the face recognition or the thumbprint, it's actually looking into using our heartbeats. So how incredible is that? So we've been drumming a long time, and I wish I could say I was doing some research, and I was actually disappointed to find out that the drum is not the oldest instrument. It is actually the flute, which totally blew me away. But apparently the flute outdates is older than the drum, and because they used to carve out the bone and make an instrument out of that into a flute. But I'm sure it's the second oldest drum in the world, and it dates back to 6000 BC from the Neolithic period. So for ancient civilizations, drumming created a sense of community and belonging, and it is no different today. So drum circles are quickly catching on throughout the world for the same reasons they flourished 1000 years ago. This fascinating activity engenders a sense of personal and group worth through self-expression, sharing, and contributing to the whole. It's a living metaphor of our capacity as humans to join forces and to work together effectively. How many of you have attended a drum circle? If you can put that in the chat, I'm just really curious to hear. Yes. So we have a few drummers and a few non-drummers. Awesome. And for those of you that have attended, what was your biggest takeaway? What was the overall emotion after attending one of them? What did you feel? Yes, connection with nature. You connect to the beat automatically. Absolutely. Your heart just flows into it. Oh, delicious. So yeah, you can see that it's something that you just have. The most common word is connection. And connecting with other people and jamming and flow and in tune, like it's all this like synergy that happens instantly. So why is drumming so empowering? As you can see, we have Animal from the Muppets in the corner. I think he's such a great like example of feeling really empowered while you're drumming and really happy, right? So it's empowering because anyone can do it. It fosters creative self-expression and inner healing. When our hands connect with the drum, we express our energy, vitality, and emotion. It's an invigorating workout for everyone at every level. It energizes one's spirit to overcome life challenges. It builds a bond that supports each other. Music gets through where words do not pass. And I can't emphasize that enough. I think that's one of the places where a lot of the magic happens, where we don't have words to necessarily express what we're feeling. And the drum allows you to put that into a form of expression that's very cathartic. It also exceeds perceived limits when you combine nurturing, support, self-expression, exercise, and music making. Life-changing breakthroughs emerge. I know for me, my journey with the drum through health rhythms and using it as a tool for healing and meditation has created many breakthroughs in my life, especially from the healing perspective. One more answer. Paul says, strong sense of connection to the elements, the fire that is often at the center of many circles, the earth beneath one's feet, the air that surrounds, also to the community, the blending of many people drumming together. Yes, yes, exactly. It's just, again, that buzzword, it's connection. You feel connected to yourself, to the fire, to the elements, to your surroundings. Like, it just really brings you to life. So jamming. So when we're jamming, what actually is happening is what they call entrainment. So jamming's that part where you've already described, where you're like connecting with everybody and everything's on the same beat and you're just vibing and everyone's flowing together. And so what's actually happening is entrainment. Now, entrainment was discovered in 1655 by Christian, I can't say his last name, Huygens, using pendulums. It is a principle of physics that describes a tendency for two oscillating bodies to vibrate in synchrony. It also refers to the phase locking of two or more rhythmic cycles. So geese fly 70% more efficiently by entraining to the leader's flight tempo. In humans, the biological rhythms are often entrained to external cues. One example of this actually that comes to mind right now is when in physical therapy, when they're teaching people to walk again, they can actually walk better and faster to music. So it helps them with their physical therapy make more progress a lot easier when it's done to music. Rhythmical entrainment and group drumming refers to the natural process of assimilating the beat of another. So as a trained facilitator, we're taught to really look for the sweet spot. It starts happening after 4 minutes. So the research shows also that after 4 minutes, entrainment begins to happen. So our job is to make sure that we hold on and make sure that the group is drumming for probably no less than 6 to 8 minutes at a time, just to give, to watch for the cues of entrainment happening. So we see that first we're getting off a little rocky. People are trying to get comfortable with the drum, with the rhythm, following my beat, staying on beat, not getting too fast or too slow, until finally you see that everyone like arrived and we're all in that synergy and in that cohesiveness. And now we're grooving. Now everybody's faces like ease up and everybody's smiling and everybody's feeling it. And you see that now people are curious and they can start putting in their own creative rhythm and experimenting with the beat that's happening. So that's what's happening there is entrainment, and that's really the big goal of these jam sessions, is to reach that state of like drumming euphoria. So the famous research that really health rhythms, what makes health rhythms very unique is what the neurologist Barry Bittman came across. So he was a neurologist that Remo, the percussion company, worked with to do the research behind drumming. And his team discovered that a specific drumming approach, which is the health rhythms protocol, significantly increased the disease-fighting activity of circulating white blood cells, the natural killer cells that seek out and destroy cancer cells and virally infected cells. I don't know about you, but I would much rather drum than I know I should take vitamins too, but but drumming is such a powerful tool, and is specifically this protocol. This is specific to the protocol and not drum circles in general. When you combine the actual formula of health rhythms that involves the guided meditation and the inspired rhythms and the sharing and the entrainment, and all of these different steps, that's what creates this result in non-drummers. So they did the experiment with individuals who had never drummed before, and this was the result they got. So health rhythm strengthens the immune system, and there are very few programs out there that say that they can do that. So I'm so happy to be backed by research. Now, if you want to know more research, there's lots of research about health rhythms and drumming in general that talk about the effects on child and adolescents, anxiety and depression. That's a typo, addictions, PTSD, trauma, the brain, disabilities, workspace wellness. There's just so much research out there. So if you want to dive a little bit deeper, I invite you to visit these websites, healthrhythms.org and rhythmresearchresources.net. So much good stuff out there. Does anybody have any questions so far? Nope. All right, feel free to type any questions you might have in the chat as we're getting closer to wrapping up. So I wanted to share 3 short stories about my journey with health rhythms so far. And one of them was about a grandmother with Alzheimer's, and she lived in a facility, and the facility was offering health rhythms for its patients and their family members together. And during one of these health rhythm sessions, the grandmother with Alzheimer's, for the first time in years, actually remembered and became lucid during the entrainment period of the drumming, became lucid and turned around and recognized her granddaughter and said her name. And they thought that she was completely unaware, and she wasn't. She was there still. And having that moment of clarity was such a gift to her family. That when I heard that the first time, I got so choked up listening to that story, because how powerful is that this has the that ability to help them become lucid. It's obviously not guaranteed all the time, but that's just one of the examples. Another one was a troubled teen. It was in one of my first health rhythm circles. My friend had just adopted a teenager, which was like a cousin of the family. And she came from an abusive and neglected home, and she came to the circle, and that relationship was brand new with her new mom. And they came to this drum circle, both of them unaware of what this was going to be like. And her body language was just so shut off and closed down and shy and timid and not making eye contact with me or anyone else in the group. She has a new home, a new mom. She was in a new environment. I'm sure she had never seen or experienced anything of this nature. And she went through the first health rhythm circle, and then when she came to the second one a couple weeks later, she returned with her mom. This was like a completely different teen. Like, she was just so much more open, smiling. You can see like the light in her eyes. And when she went to the bathroom and she had excused herself from the group, her mom shared what an incredible tool it was for them to connect and to share something that they both will now have in common for this new relationship, and how it really opened both of them up and helped them with this journey of just trying to, create this new relationship. And they were both able to be vulnerable in front of one of another in this group setting, and really drum all the difficulty that they were both experiencing. And they've continued to come to the circles, and this is just a completely different child, and it's just been an amazing thing to watch her just completely change, and that the drumming was such a critical tool to helping them form a bond. And then lastly, I had another young woman who shared at the end of the circle that she has breast cancer. And obviously that, is always hard to hear. And then a few weeks later, I got tagged on Instagram, and it was this video of her. She went out and bought the same black drum that you see in the picture, which has an incredible deep resonance, and she was drumming, doing like yoga poses and singing, and just was feeling so empowered, and just made the most beautiful, empowering Instagram post about just not being a victim of her disease and using this drum as a tool to help her process, you know, this difficult journey. Um, so this is just some of the stories in my short journey with Health Rhythms. I've only been doing this since June is when I got certified, and it's already been such a transformative experience. But again, if you have any questions, please let me know. So here is my invitation to you. After hearing about all the benefits of drumming, I invite you to attend a Health Rhythm Circle, or just attend a drum circle near you. If you haven't gone to one in a while, you know, check it out again. If you haven't been to any, you can connect with me, and I can point you into the direction of a couple I know of in town, as well as the next ones that I'm hosting. You can purchase a drum. I can also recommend drums, and you can use it as part of your normal daily meditation routine and just drum for 10 minutes. My next drum circle is Friday. So there's a metaphysical store called Joyful Peace Dragon on Southwest 8th Street and 142nd Avenue. And I'm going to be doing a drum circle there at 7:30 p.m. So it's going to be on the next slide. And then next week at Zen Fest, I'm going to be there. I'm going to do 3 mini Health Rhythms demos for anyone who wants to attend. It's going to be the last hour and a half of Zen Fest. And during the first half of Zen Fest, I'm actually going to have a booth where I'll be selling my coloring books and doing drum massages. So if you want to just come experience a drum massage, I'll be doing those as well. Where's your drum circle on? And ZenFest is next Thursday, the 26th, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the rec center. And then the drum circle on 142nd Avenue and 8th Street is at Joyful Peace Dragon is the name of the store. And then for those of you who are familiar with the Kali Square area, I do on the first Friday of every month in the Salt Cave in Kali Square, which is a whole other energy and very delicious because you get the health benefits of the salt air therapy. And then the last invitation is if you don't want to invest in a drum, you can't make it to a drum circle, you know, for any reason, check out shamanic drumming music on apps like Insight Timer, or even on YouTube. Just type in shamanic drumming and close your eyes and try to meditate, and you'll see how quickly you drop into a really nice deep meditative state. So any more questions before we wrap up here? Yes, I'll be more than happy to. Here is my information. I would love if we can all stay in touch. Here is my list of upcoming events. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I post my schedule on Instagram and Facebook. So my Instagram is at Natalie1Love. On Facebook, you can find me by my full name. I also post my schedule, I think, also on LinkedIn. My website is natalieonelove.com. This is my office extension here and my work email. So I would love to connect with all of you. Thank you all for your time today. If you have any questions, feel free to email or reach out to me. And thank you for being a part of this journey with me and being willing to learn about the power of the drum.
So we want to go ahead and thank everybody for coming to today's session in regards to health rhythms and the wonderful benefit of drumming. If you happen to have any questions, please just shoot them my way at pausewellness@fiu.edu if you want any of the resources, or you can go ahead and email Natalie directly at calzadilla@fiu.edu. And again, that's CALZ as in zoo @D as in David IL. And we'll go ahead and we're going to get signed off. We do have this recorded, so you'll be seeing it soon again. Again, thank you for coming to take a pause in your day for your well-being.